Midnight Magic Musing family. I am the Earl of Florida, and I have returned, finally, to Midnight Magic Musings. No, your eyes do not deceive you. It has been a little while since I've been here, but to your benefit or your ever dismay, I have returned. And today we're going to be talking about Daryl Dixon, a spin-off series for The Walking Dead that's kind of standalone in a way. So let's dive right in. And yes, I will be throwing a few points out there where I disagree with Lady Cephas, Lord Cephas, or agree with Lady Cephas and Lord Cephas. So here we go. Daryl Dixon, starring Norman Reedus. I have a few points. We're going to kick off right off the bat. And I'm not going to take too long here because it's been out for a while. And if you haven't seen it, that's your fault, not mine. It's been out everywhere for free. So if you haven't seen it, it's your fault because everybody loves free things. I do, except for those burgers from that local joint that free burgers like 3 days later. When the patties are green, isn't SpongeBob. Don't eat it. But anyway, so number one, we get Daryl Dixon opening up. It's on a boat, drifting on the ocean. So calm, so cool, so collected, whatever. This is a premise that's been done so many times, it's ridiculous. But why do they keep doing it? Because it works. It's awakening to a new existence. And we use this as a way to introduce to the main character everything that's going on. But while the main character is being introduced to things that he doesn't know or she doesn't know, we, the consumers, whether it's through a book and we're reading or TV or movies and we're watching it, we are introduced right alongside them to this new existence, this new world, so to speak. So the reason it's done so well is because it acclimates the character and us to the new scenarios. And it has been done a lot. Even in the zombie genre, let's go with the original, The Walking Dead. You had Andrew Lincoln, his Rick Grimes, waking up from a coma from the hospital and staggering around. He doesn't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. I mean, we know what's going on, but we don't know what's going on in this scenario. And it's a nice introduction and also a callback to the original series. But it's also been done well in other movies like Resident Evil, the one with Mila Jovovich, where she wakes up, not in a coma, but more of a bathtub, shower, I don't know. Either way, she wakes up there and we get introduced to things as everything falls into place there for her. Also, if you go a little bit further back, you can hit, I believe it was Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later, where we get Cillian Murphy. I mispronounced his name. I am deeply sorry. It's Lord Cephas' fault. I got the notes, and that's not the way it's pronounced. He pronounced it Killian, and I knew that was wrong. Could be Killian, could be Cillian. Either way, he's introduced to the world of zombies in that, and we are too to that particular world of interest. But it works for so many different genres because you have, westerns, and I'm talking books and movies and everything in between, where they wake up because they got shot or they have amnesia or you're transported to a new world. It's a nice way to pull us in and make us feel a kinship to the main character. So in this instance, with Daryl Dixon, portrayed by Norman Reedus, again, awesome, we're already familiar with him, we're familiar with the character, we're familiar with the world. But this is not the new world. Haha, see what I did there? It's the old, okay, either way. So it's the old world. He's no longer in North America, no longer in the United States, or what used to be the United States, which would be the Commonwealth, or blah, 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 blah. He's no longer near there. He's now across the ocean. He's a few skips away. Yes, that's my accent for the day. And so he wakes up to this unfamiliar scenario, and one of the things that I like about the idea that they took was, even though it's Daryl Dixon, he's not Daryl Dixon because he doesn't have his knives, he doesn't have his motorcycle, he doesn't have his crossbow, he doesn't have, the trappings that make him who he is and who he's been for 11 years in our reality. And what's it been, like almost 20 years or 12 years? I don't know how many years it's been. It's been over a decade in the Walking Dead timeline. So, and the reason I say that is he wakes up and he has the vest, but it very quickly gets packed away. And we see him as he's a little bit like a lost puppy. If, the lost puppy is normally greasy-haired and would bite you and take your arm off and protect those. But either way, that's not a puppy. That's just more of a... Anywho. So yeah, we get introduced to this new world through his eyes for the first time. So that led us to number 2, which I already touched on. Tabula rasa, which is clean slate. So when he removed the vest, we saw him obviously get water. Lady Shifa's called that one first. But I mean, Daryl Dixon doesn't have all these trappings that make him who he is. He's got this weird fishing spear. He's got a knife that he's stuck in his boot. But he's definitely not armed and dangerous like the Daryl Dixon that we know. Part of it is because of the new scenario. Part of it is because he doesn't have the things that are familiar to him. And so we see him go on in this very, very much of a quiet beginning, which fits perfectly with Daryl Dixon, the character, because he's not a man of a lot of words. He's more of a man of brooding and grunts and greasy hair in his eyes, But it works because if you harken back to what I said earlier, Andrew Lincoln didn't exactly run around talking, and neither did Cillian Murphy. Lord Cephas' fault, blame him. Because that was who those characters were at the time. But with Daryl Dixon, he's even more so a man of few words. Blame the script, not me. So one of the perks of doing all of this is we lead to the number 3, new dangers. Now it's The Walking Dead. Now the first several seasons, the walkers were the most dangerous thing. But by season 3, when they got to the person in the original Walking Dead series, and if you haven't seen it, again, it's your fault. Don't blame me for spoilers. You're behind. Go watch that. Why are you watching a review of things that you don't want to know what's going to happen? Spoiler! Daryl doesn't die. Blah. Either way, so we have to be introduced to new dangers. We know the walkers. We know that they have the variants from season 11 that were really a callback to season 1 when they climbed over the first fence in the first couple of episodes, but nobody talks about it, so we won't either. New variants. So we get a scene where Daryl's in looking around, and you hear the growling, and I'm not going to do what Lord Cephas did, or was it Lady Cephas? I don't know, because it was more of a podcast, so one of them was like doing a weird gargle, growl. I'm going to assume it was Lord Cephas, but if it was Lady Cephas, kudos. Either way, so he's familiar with zombies. He knows how to fight zombies. But these aren't your traditional zombies. This is a wrench thrown in, or a new side to things, and they're called burners. Why are they called burners? Because they cook very bad breakfasts. You don't want to eat their eggs. Their grilled cheese are ridiculously burnt. The toast sets off the fire. Oh wait, no, not that. Okay, it's because somehow they are acidic in nature. One of them actually grabs onto Daryl's arm, which burns him, leaving a handprint, which that should be a new tattoo, Norman Reedus. That way you can have that, and, either way. Moving on. But even though it's new dangers, i.e. the burners, we've already seen variants of that nature if you go to Fear the Walking Dead, where we've seen the radioactive zombies, where if you shoot them, you don't want to get their blood on you. If you do, you want to strip down naked and run and take a shower. No comment there. Either way, so yes, it's a new danger, but it's not really. It's a twist on a previously seen danger, i.e. the radioactive zombies. But they did reference that there were others, not named burners, so maybe we'll see more. Maybe we'll see a giant six-legged, six-armed, one-eyed, one-eared, one purple people eater zombie that we got in Dead City. If you haven't seen that, my bad, but it's your fault because that was like 2 months ago, which I'll also talk about that in a different video, but that's completely unrelated. So we need to be introduced to new dangers, but at this point in time, the biggest danger, as we've learned in all the other Walking Dead series, is humans. They're the bad guys, they're the evil ones. Zombies you can deal with. The evil of men you cannot always plan for. Moving into another stereotype that we have, the reluctant hero. And I like Daryl Dixon. I like his evolution of his character. When you first met him in the first season of The Walking Dead, he was a redneck punk. And he evolved slowly through the seasons to where he was one of the main characters and a massive fan favorite. And let's face it, when he had the little short hair up here, didn't do it. But when he started growing it out, oh yeah, he was manly. Okay, moving on. But, you know, the reluctant hero, it speaks to all of us because we want to be that person, or we want to hang out with that person, or we want to think that we would have the ability to stand up and do what's right when that time comes. So, you know, that calls to all of us. Another thing that this episode, and I'm assuming the season continues, is childcare. Now, if we knew childcare like this was going to be available in the zombie apocalypse, sign me up with my 5 kids. Maybe not. But this is also a stereotype that we've seen so much of. You can go with The Mandalorian, how Baby Yoda, Grogu, you know, that kind of dynamic. You can go to also actor from Mandalorian, transfers over to HBO in a video game where he's moving along with a kid who he needs to transport from point A to point B. This is something that's in so many different genres and so many different mediums of this stoic guardian who's protecting somebody who can't protect themselves. And it's something that we as consumers are so used to. It's safe. It's something we've seen. It's a character that we like, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it doesn't jump out and do backflips for new stuff. It's not even reinventing the wheel. It's a first episode designed to keep us entrenched with the series and willing to follow this character even further from the first episode. Now, one area that is new ground for the Walking Dead series is prophecy. When he lands in the new old world, old new world, the new old new world, the old new world, old new world, I like that. Either way, when he lands in the old new world, we get met with a lot of religious symbology and iconic visuals, and they say that they're trying to be all-encompassing and accepting, which I'm completely fine with this zombie apocalypse idea. But the new ground is a prophecy of, and what they called it was the Messiah. Now, we're not talking about Jesus Christ coming back, because he'd have to be bit and die and then come back to the zombie. I don't know how that would work, but that's not what we're talking about here. So don't worry about that. Lay it down, relax, calm down, put down your pitchforks, put down your crucifixions. No, what it is kind of like to me, it almost felt like a John Connor kind of thing, where he's the savior of mankind, where he's going to bring us from the brink of darkness, the brink of extinction, as they talked about the differences between the population of point A before and population now, how it's going to take many, many, many generations to get the population back of humanity, not zombies. And for me, it felt like it was kind of like a John Connor reference, which also then pushed me all the way back to Terminator. We have the horde that's unstoppable. It's going to keep coming and coming, and he will not stop until you are dead. Terminator. But in this instance, it's zombies and humans. But we have our stoic hero who's a soldier, and Daryl Dixon. Now, I'm going to wrap this up before it gets too long, but one of the things, the iconic things that this first episode sets up is the journey begins. And all these things, the reluctant hero, the stoic soldier, the wounded, quiet, masculinity of the hero, blah, blah, blah. It sets up for the journey. And should we tune in? Should we not tune in? Fans of The Walking Dead are going to check out episode 2 and onward, because they're fans of the series, they're fans of the genre, And fans of Daryl Dixon, aka Norman Reedus, are going to continue because he gets top billing. This is Daryl Dixon. This isn't The Walking Dead season 10 where he is one of the leading points, blah, blah, blah. So fans of him are going to continue, and it's a new era, it's a new land, it's new dangers. And so, yeah, I would recommend checking out Daryl Dixon, episode 1, and I'm going to be continuing watching 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 over the next several days, so I can hit you with a boom, follow-up with a full season recap, short and sweet and to the point, just like me. But anywho, one thing I did hear a few people complain about, one, the weapons. Well, it's not America. We don't have, there's 400 million plus firearms. There's more than enough guns for everybody in America. This is Europe. This is, they have more stringent gun laws. And one thing over there, which is also over here, is that black powder firearms were more widely available without falling under the laws because they're older firearms. They don't count as modern firearms. So I don't have a problem with the aspect of the older black powder firearms. In fact, I actually enjoyed the blunderbuss. So if you don't know what the blunderbuss is, go back and watch it. It's like the big elephant gun, shotgun looking thing. It's a medieval shot or a black powder shotgun, and it was just hilarious to see. I was like, it's a blunderbuss, and I love the word blunderbuss. Either way, but you see a few modern weapons. You see it looks like a sawed-off a double-barrel shotgun in the first Two Soldiers scene. Then you see, I believe it was a Luger that the bad guy human had. So I'm willing to cut the firearm aspects a break, and everybody's like, "Oh, Daryl Dixon coming back, to be here and rescuing the nunnery." I do have to argue with that. Daryl Dixon didn't turn back to go save them because he was a good guy, and he's going to go out of his way to protect them. Daryl Dixon realized, well, darn it, I got the two soldiers killed earlier. They're coming after me. They're looking for me. So if I don't go back, I just hung them out to dry, and they're going to die for me. So it was guilt, partially, that sent him back. Yeah, he's a good guy and whatnot, but he also knew that he was responsible for whatever was going to happen in there, and we saw what happened. So, wrapping it up, Realm of Reality, Daryl Dixon episode 1, check it out. We'll see how the rest of it goes. Lord Stevens, Lady Stevens, I'm not going to glorify it. It's just pick up a fantasy book, pick up a science fiction book, or a movie, or a film, and you'll see the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I made seen so many times elsewhere. Why? Because they work. And why change it up if you don't have to? I'm sure we're going to see things change up in episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as it expands, it grows, and evolves into its own thing. But until then, I've seen this before. Some a little bit better, some a lot worse. I'm going to hang in there. Daryl Dixon, you got my vote. So until then, hit the like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong, tell me something. I promise I won't cry more than 5 minutes in the corner, because that's what I'm supposed to say. I will cry more, and it will be your fault. But until then, see you next time.